Welcome to the 10th session of Samkhya 101, an introduction to Samkhya, authored by Kapil. Last week we had reviewed chapter 1 and I presented an overview of chapter 2. Today we want to have an overview of chapter 3. Let's look at the slides. Yeah, this is our title slide, 10th session of a quick review of what we did in chapter 2. So chapter 2 was talking about Prakriti and its various derivatives, particularly what I call as the lower arm of the Sankhya diagram. So this is the Prakriti in equilibrium with respect to its three gunas, sattva, rajas, tamas. The first principle that is formed is Mahat, the great principle. Then the Ahankar, I principle, which function as memory for an individual being. And then when it comes to the outer world, it goes in the upper direction, the green line. Last week, when we looked at the chapter 2, we were looking at the subject and his instruments. That is the Mahat, my Buddhi, very first particle, and my Ahankar, and then Manas and 10 in the instruments. So we looked at our total 13 instruments that are 5 plus 5, 10, then Manas, Ahankar and Buddhi. 10 plus 3, 13. So this is what was covered in the chapter 2, namely the lower arm of this schematic diagram. So today we are looking at but let's complete the review. So we looked at the 13 instruments every individual has, namely the Buddhi, which is what is structurally known as Mahat particle, which functions for us as an individual human being, particularly the human being. Yeah, it is discriminative faculty. That's why I conclude that what I see is a chair and not a table, things like that. Then next is Ahankar, which is what is memory for incoming knowledge, whatever I perceive, it is stored there. And not only that, it also stores all the programs I make, all kinds of my signatures, the way I write, the way I walk, the way I sing, the way I drive a car. What is our repeated practices, they are also stored there. And that's what becomes so-called sanskars. So that ahankar is working as storage device for my knowledge as well as how I conduct how I what are my actions. So incoming knowledge is also stored as well as outgoing actions. So that when I want to repeat that, it is with a great ease. Sanskar is also called as impressions. And manas is a principle that connects to 5 incoming knowledge signals and 5 outgoing action signals. So if you look at this diagram, sorry, yeah. So this is my buddhi where I conclude and take a decision. That is like my desktop. This is me. This is the next is my storage device where I store my knowledge as well as the actions which I am going to do repeatedly. This is the manas, which picks up knowledge signal from 5 senses and also activates my 5 motor organs. These are all that were discussed last week. In total, 13 instruments. And of course, I sometimes criticize people have not understood. Usually, you will see in certain books so-called antahkaran chatustak. Man, Buddhi, Chitta and Ahankar. So they are mistaken that as if Chitta and Buddhi are two separate devices, but it is not true. And I have explained to you why Patanjali calls it Chitta and why Kapil calls it Buddhi. They are all the same. And there is a very powerful statement in Kapil Sankhya that we have 13 instruments, not 14. So there should be no doubt whatsoever. Then he has made a statement which is very important for those who want to go spiritually. The India's the sense organs, he has tell, is like an axe. So a human being is using an axe when there is a purpose to cut wood. If you are not cutting wood, you don't use the axe, isn't it? So we have these organs, 5 plus 5, but they are for outer worldly functions. If I want to see something, then I engage with my sight organ. If I don't want, I don't use it. So it is not that I have to use always these organs. So a human being should have a capacity, should have the maturity to decide when to use an axe and when not to use it. Then he has used the term kamasha as well as akamasha. So if I go back to that diagram, yes, when I am engaged with my 5 sense organs, they are always one after another. So we have seen it. If I am deeply involved in seeing an object, then I miss out some sound, somebody is talking to me, isn't it? And if I am very much, so that's what we say. I did hear, but I was not listening to you, isn't it? Then we request the person to repeat those words. So that is Gautam is saying in Nyaya Yugupat Jnana na bhavati manaso lingam. The very fact these 5 don't come direct to me, there is an in between device which is like linkage or an antenna. So it picks up signals from one at a time. That is why the word is kamasha. And it is a kamasha in the sense I can walk as well as see. So, I can, there is a multiplicity is possible in motor or I can walk as well as manipulate. I change my back from one hand to another while walking. So, two motor organs or one motor organ and plus one sense organ can function, but they function only one at a time. They can function, and those who have high skills like a dancer or something, they play with their eyes, this all kinds of motions simultaneously with practice. So that is what we discussed last time. This. Then we saw this was identical statement with Panchtaya Klishta. That is in Patanjali has borrowed it from Sankhya exactly as it is. So I just brought it in. Then there is towards the end of the second chapter, we saw though all instruments perform in team, yet Buddhi is the primary instrument. So as far as I am concerned, this is my desktop, and that takes help of all these organs. So it's like if I am an emperor, this is my prime minister, and what does the prime minister do? Is he takes help of several assistants. So that was our chapter 2. Today I will give you an overview of third chapter, interesting chapter where most of the philosophy what was brought in chapter 1. Part of that is covered in chapter 2, namely the lower diagram. Today we'll see the upper diagram, this part, and not in terms of Panchabhut giving rise to all the infinite worldly objects, but in particular our own gross body. So when you say a human being is body, mind, and soul, our body is mainly made of these 5 gross elements. Mind is made of all this red color and this, and then this is me. So when I say body, this is this, mind, then this is all, this is mind, and this is me. So today we will be looking at the green color, and of course there will be overlap. What is the objective of life? what is so many other things we look at it, because he has defined what is the objective of this book is to get rid of all kinds of pain, and that is done through Vivek and upward. So all that will be covered in the chapter number 3. So let's look at it, because it is an overview. I cannot read out all the 85 statements, because in about 45 minutes we want to cover that. Avisheshad Visheshayambha. So this is, I have said, this is called Avishesh Panchatanmata in particular. This is Avishesh, and this is called Vishesh. So he's saying from this Panchatanmata. So Ahankar story has already been covered in this section. So now he's saying from this 5 tanmata subtle elements are formed. So here they are step by step transition. There one is becoming 5. Now these are subtle. Now then 5 subtle becomes 5 gross. And this is what can be perceived by my senses. So there is a element of sight here that is emanating what is called roop. And here is what is, sorry, this is my indriya of sight. There is an nascent stage of Agni here, and Agni is transmitting Roop. Roop is captured by my sight. So this magic number 5 is coming from our 5 senses. Okay, and then this is from subtle to gross. That is what is Tasmat Shayirasya. Out of this, our Shayir is formed. That is what he is given. Tad Bijat. And then I took birth in this world. How was it? This is my union of my mother and father. So that is their beej. Beej is seed. So my seed is actually me and my whole subtle body. This is all put together is called my subtle body, and my gross body is called this Shayi. So my gross body is, which is under my course, which goes through all kinds of changes. I from childhood to the youth, then I get older, and then I die. All that. So all these transitions are taking place in this. So my seed is actually this plus this. You have to remember that, isn't it? That's how my previous life's account is coming. All the sanskar. So every individual is born with his individual talents. They are coming from the previous life. So I came in my father's body. This plus all this, that is called beej. That goes to the mother's body. Then also it is beej, because of the two sperm and ovum have to meet. Then so seed is coming in two parts. Then it becomes really the independent seed. Then I this is formed. It is growing for 9, 10 months in my mother's body. Then I am this plus this subtle body plus this gross body. Then I come in the world. So that bijat sansiti. So we will see this in the, all this is here. Yeah. So I will not go statement by statement. So let's quickly go through it. Mahat Ahankar, 5 subtle elements, and that gives us to 5 gross elements. That is the upper arm, and that is the subject under consideration in the third chapter. So gross body is made out of 5 gross elements. They are also called as Bhut as well as Vishesh. We have discussed these terms many times. Subtle body is Avishesh, which is Buddhi and other 13 all put together, 13 instruments. So this is me, my soul is enveloped by these 13. This 13 is like abode of Purush. And then he gives an example. Mata Pityajam is Thulam Prayasaitanna Tatha Purvatpada Saptadashekam Vyakti Bheda Kayam Vishesha Chaya Vat Chityavat. This is statement number 12. So he gives an example that like a picture needs a support of the wall. So my soul needs this subtle body as a support. So I am not moving just like that. So I entered into my father's body. with that supporting base, Ashaya that is called. Chaya what Chitra. No Swatantra. I was not independent. I was not just alone. So this push, which is tiny soul, plus the subtle body, is traveling together. And then he gives an example, like a king always travels with his ministers. So he gives some distant example so as to understand all this. So this plus this, I entered into father's body, then mother's body, and this is justifying as if the picture requires a support. So that's how it is. And then he's saying is again he emphasizes this buddhi is not the experiencer, bhokta, what is called. I am the bhokta, the push. This is the emperor, and he needs the help of all his ministers or instruments, etc. Panch bhautike deha. There is the gross body that is made of Panchbhut. So this is all plus gross body. And then he's using a word sansati, sansayana. So I will use that word in the next slide. My subtitle will be here. The subtitle was Prakriti and our gross body. Sansayana, if you are familiar with this, is what gives rise to the word sansar. Sayan is sayati. Sayati is like Saita is in river. What flows? Some is a prefix, it is well planned. So things are flowing, like my whole life is flowing. So this is the world where things come and stay for a while, as if it is cyclic process, birth and death. So all this is programmed properly. So Prapanchamayandad Abhavascha. So there are a lot of details here, but I am not going through that. And then he's saying all this keeps on moving, like cycle of birth and death is unending until an individual has gained what he calls as vivek. And even if an individual gets it, the sansar keeps on moving because there are many others who have not yet qualified for that. So this is a broad description of it. Now he's saying how we are. So that was a good statement. I like that statement. Jnanat Mukti. Finally, the liberation is with that discriminating knowledge. So that was in 23rd statement of the Bandho Vipayayat. And if you don't have that Vivek, you are inflicted with avivek, which is what is the default case, then you are always in bondage. So this is his flow chart. He is saying this is what life is, cycle of birth and death. How do we take birth? What is this gross body? And this is the cycle is broken if you have gained vivek, that is jnanat mukti. Otherwise, for others, it is bandha vipayayat who don't have vivek. That is vipayayat means in the opposite situation. So seed is push plus subtle body. Just want to show you this is like we have discussed in the chapter 2 Bijanko. This seed gives plant and plant gives seed again. So this is what our life is. In our case, it is not unisex, it is bisexual, we know, mother and father. In certain species, it is just one of them. So he's writing somewhere, Mata Pittejam Sthulam Pyayasha. Mostly it is with the Mata and Pita, but there are species where it is only one person gives rise to the birth of the child. So that was so. So here I am trying to say that cycle is there. The gross body gives rise to seed, then this individual will grow, become a gross body. It is like plant giving seed, seed gives another plant, that gives another family of seeds. So it goes on, unending cycle. And this seed I have already discussed is that push enveloped with the subtle body. So gross body is made of 5 gross elements. They don't. Now he's coming to Chetan and Achetan. You know, Sansati Linga Nam no, Chaitanyam. So now that is what Vivek is it not? And he's arguing it. Gross body is made of 5 gross elements and they don't possess consciousness individually. And since not individually, he says, not even collectively. Then he say, arguing it. If our gross body was consciousness, then how do you explain death as well as deep sleep? So during the night when I am in deep sleep, the body is unconscious, but then I emerge again in my next morning. Is it not? I am not dead, is it not? And death also, that gross body is lying here. It is a dead body, and it is a irreversible process. We can wait 100 years, he will not come back alive. So if those gross body Panchbhut were to possess consciousness, these two events should not be taking place in our day-to-day life. Then he gives an example. This is Purupaksh. Somebody may argue, okay, like you make a wine. Wine after fermenting some apple juice or whatever it is. So these are some certain substances that don't have intoxicating ingredients, but with passage of time it becomes an intoxicant, isn't it? So the person is aging, the lay person is aging a doubt. If you say the Panchbhut don't have consciousness, but maybe their combination can give rise to consciousness, like it happens in wine, where the individual ingredients don't have intoxicant, but the way they are mixed, the way they are processed, it becomes an intoxicating drink. Then he gives an example. He replies that no, no, you are not correct. Actually, at least one individual component will have some sort of intoxicating uh, behavior, attribute, which is maybe in the taste form. So, this is Satkayavad, which we have discussed in chapter 1. So, if an effect has a quality, the cause has to have that attribute. So, that is his philosophy. It may not be visible to us, it may not be, but that is what is there. And in a supporting favorable situation, it is growing. Without a seed, no plant takes up. And the seed is in a very tiny element, but the plant can be a huge tree, is it not? So that intoxicating effect is very visible, but it was certainly there in a very minute form in a particular ingredient. This is called Satkayavad. And then he says again, Jnanat Mukti is coming here. Vivek only brings liberation, which is, as I have said, it's not just a bookish knowledge, you have to see experientially, discriminating consciousness from unconsciousness. And if its absence is the cause of bondage. This is third point 24. Now he says karma, niyat karanavad karanatvat. There is a definite reason, definite uh, method to get liberation. It is not arbitrary. So he is trying to say samuchaya vikalpa. It is not that if you perform certain kind of karma, even philanthropic action, you will not get the liberation. Then that means karma has no role to play in liberation. Karma brings limited reward. There is a karma phal. So any effort we make is finite because we are finite human beings. Naturally, the corresponding uh, reward will also be finite. But he started his book with with dukha atyant niveti, atyant purusharth. So that is absolute effort. So he is outrightly rejecting the possibility that any worldly effort can become a part of absolute effort. Absolute effort is higher supreme level, that is superlative level, and that cannot be what we do. So that has to be nothing but that vivek. Now, third point 30 to 36, very interesting. This is exactly what Patanjali's Ashtanga Yoga is, but he's going in a reverse order because he is saying he's starting his thing with Vivek. How do you get Vivek? In that deep state of meditation. So he's now, his journey is from inside to outside. If I look at this diagram, he is saying Vivek is to know that this is different from this. So at that point, I must be, I must have ended up my journey somehow here. I am disconnect from all this. So that is what is Vivek, when I self-realization. So now he is saying, if I want to have this, what should be here, what should be here, what should be here, what should be in body. So naturally, Patanjali's philosophy was asan pranayam pratyadhana this way. Now this person is talking in this way. This is on order. So no problem. So you will see he is saying his 30th statement, Ragopahati Dhyanam. So he is a very powerful person talking about Vairagya. So he will say Vairag is announcing, and opposite of Vairag is Rag. Rag is when I enjoy the fluctuations on my buddhi. I enjoy, like I just had food, I enjoy the taste, and then I'm sitting here, but my mind is just feeling, oh, how nice that taste was. So my mind is going after the taste of the food, that is called rag. So that's what Patanjali has defined as Sukhanushayi raga. So now he's starting his story with rag upahati. Hati is to kill. If I kill my rag, then I am in dhyan. Is that okay? So dhyan is a state here when my mind is not going after pleasures of worldly pleasures. So his story is beginning here. Then how to do that? Then he says 31st statement, Vitti Nayodha Tat Siddhi. So if I am inflicted with rag, it will give fluctuation on my mind. That is called Vitti. Nayodh is to subdue it, and that is done through the dhyan. Then he says, he is now going next here. Dharana sa na swakarmana tat siddhi. How is this facilitated? By dharana. So his flow is slightly different, but otherwise the terminology is exactly same. Niyodhas chadi vidayana. This is talking about breathing. Breathing has to be intercepted. That is called niyodh vidayana. Otherwise, breathing is always in a rhythm. But when I take control of it, that is called pranayam. So he's not using the word pranayam, but this is what niyodha chadi vidayanabhyam means. Next is sthir sukhamasanam, which is exactly what Patanjali has borrowed. So this is about the body posture asana. So I have told you 30 to 36, and his interesting 35 statement, swakarma swashyam vid karmanusthana. So he's saying whatever is a human being doing, whether it's student life, householder, or retired, or is a sannyasi, monk, or whatever it is, he should be engaged in his swakarma, karmanushtanam, and all our usual day-to-day activities, coming, cooking food, eating them. While our life is going on, we can still do these things, what he is suggesting. And then he says, Vayagyad Abhyasat Cha. So Patanjali's statement is Abhyas Vayagyam Tan Niyodha. That is coming exactly in that manner. But his order was Abhyas and Vayagya. Kapil always emphasizes Vayagya first. Because he started with Rag, you see. So since he started with Rag, he's suggesting if you follow these steps, that will bring Vayagya. So when you are an enlightened person, you also eat food. That is for our survival. But then that food doesn't give rise to those kind of sanskar or what is called vasana. So vasana is same thing like sanskar, but sanskar is based on the karma. Vasana is based on the enjoyment, bhog. Otherwise, they are same lying in our ahankar, in our memory. So what I was saying was, he started the story with rag, and then he's saying that's how you gain vairagya, and you do this practice, that will be abhyas, and that is the end of his statement 36. That's now it comes here. That will bring the liberation, discriminating consciousness from. Now he's saying in 37, vipaya bheda pancha. So those who don't get Vivek, Vipaya means opposite of that. Now his story begins for common people in the world. They are inflicted with avivek because they didn't follow this practice. And that yeah, is of five kinds. So that was five kleshas. Five klesh in Patanjali is five avivek, namely avidya, asmita, rag, dvesh, abhinivesh. And when you are inflicted with them, ashakti ashtavinchati, 28. If you are inflicted with avivek, it gives rise to a kind of ashakti means we have all the powers of the instruments. Like you are ill, you have hands and legs, but you are bedridden, isn't it? So you cannot complain your instrument. It is something you did that your body organs are not functional. So that is what he's saying. You will be inflicted with 28 types of impotencies. We have 13 instruments, and in those 13 instruments, different variations will take place. I am not going into those details because that is just accounting. But like I have eyes, I do something stupid and I become blind. So that is an ashakti of my sight organ, is it not? So I have done something wrong or something wrong happened to me. So that way I can these organs can become harmed, and I though I have the organ, they don't do their job to stay navadha. Now these are at a inner level, like I am meditation practitioner. I I get a feeling, I am relaxed mind, and I imagine that is the end of it, and I enjoy that. If I enjoy that state of my mind so much, then I will never go up to the real Vivek, is it not? So this is Tushti. Tushti is I am feeling I am contented. So I will be practicing in meditation what Patanjali has called Param Vairagya, enunciation of level 2. So even though I have some Pajat Samadhi, I should be looking forward to further progress. So all those statements have been covered. Tannivetta, 33rd statement, I like it. Tannivetta, if I, oh sorry, that was second chapter. We have covered that. Swastha. Ashakti tushti navadha, siddhi ashtada, avanta bheda purvat, evam itayasya, adhyatmika tushti. So, all this, we don't go into details, but so, I have covered 30 to 36, 37 to 47. There is a long list, but that is basically talking a person who is not with Vivek, is avivek. He doesn't follow all that prescription of asana, pranayam, pratyahara, dhyana, etc. Then he is in ashakti. He shouldn't blame others. He has himself fallen into that trap. And for those people, this world exists. They can live here as long as they want and come back again and again. Then there is a description of Udvam Sattva Vishala. Even such a person, somebody aspires, okay, next time I hope I have a better life. I am born in a family where there is more spiritual discussion, etc. Such thing. So that is Udvam Sattva Vishala. Udvam means they are on the upper layer, creamy layer, where Sattva is in a greater quantity. And then all these variations are mentioned. But again, he cautions avitti tatyapi. If you come again and again in this world, still it will not bring you the liberation. Because samanam jaya maranadijam dukham. The death and old age is common, whether you are born in a this kind of family or that kind of family, whatever the life it is, there will be the dukham. Because his thesis is to get away from all kinds of pain. Na karanadayat krit krityata. This term is technical term I mentioned here. Material scientist doesn't obtain krit krityata. Let's look at this word. Kritya. Krit is what is needs to be done. Karne yogya. Kritya. And Krit means I have done it. So this is a technical term which will come again at the last statement of the thing. What he's saying is Na Karanlayat Krit Krityata. Krit Krityata means what was to be done has been done. In other words, I have attained the objective of my life. Objective of my life is the discriminating knowledge. So what he's saying is if I am if I go to the depth of any material thing which is made out of Prakriti, I will go up to the Prakriti. Mahat, I will go up to that. That is Karan Layat. Karan is the primary cause, lay where everything ends up, is it not? So that is a reference to some great, very intelligent people. They examine various things, objects in the world, like say modern physicist, chemist, or whatever it is. They go into much detail. Like great scientists are working on the fundamental particles, etc. They may go up to the point of the Prakriti, but this is not discriminatory knowledge of Purush and Prakriti, is it not? They are going to the one aspect only. So he is warning, he is telling them that is good, your investigations are good, but this also will not bring you to Krit Krityata. You have to have discriminatory knowledge of both Chetan and Achetan. That's where we started the story. Chetan, Panchabhut are not with consciousness, which came from the Prakriti, and that's what. So you have to have a slight idea of the flow chart he's following. Then you will appreciate it better. Where he makes certain jumps and he's completing the argument where he started with. Now he's saying, chapter section 56, this is all coming from Prakriti. Even if you have gone up to the point of Karan Lay, which is the Prakriti, in equilibrium of those Sattvajas Tamas, you may go up to that, but that doesn't do anything by itself because it is under control of somebody else. So Prakriti is obedient to somebody else. Why Prakriti does all this? Myriads, infinite objects. Now there is a section which is very important because for some reasons I don't know, Kapil has been considered as an atheist. So next section is very forcefully talking about Ishwar. So 57 statement, yeah, 56. He alone, Sa he, serve with Sarvakarta. So Sa is actually a pronoun meaning he. But in our tradition, that entity Ishwar is always referred to as he, never as this. Because there is a philosophical basis for that. Like, I can come to know my wife, my son, my daughter to a very good extent. And then I will, if you know something very well, you say, this person, this is always something who is close to you. And somebody who is far from you, you will say that person, is it not? So he refers to that who is far away from you. So in conceptually, a human being can never know Ishwar so well that he can confidently say, I know him so well. So this pronoun sir is always to emphasize that we are finite being, we cannot know him so well that he is close to me. He's always far away from me. So that is the logic of he is always referred to as sir. He is a very powerful emphasis, definitely. Sir with. Now this is coming, sir is all omni kind of a thing. With is that is the root which gives rise to the word vidya, but with is jnanarthe as well as sattarthe. There are two roots. It is in the direct third is going in the direction of knowledge. Satta is existence. So when we say serve with, he is all knowing as well as he is existing everywhere because Sattate, he exists everywhere. So this has two words are embedded in one. He is all knowing and he is all pervading. Sarvakarta. and all doing. All that is happening in the universe. He is the prime mover, so to say. And he is within this, within each and every particle, and he has created that. In our case, we get to know a thing after things exist. We somehow gather its knowledge. But in his case, he has the knowledge, and according to the knowledge, he has created the universe. So first is his knowledge, then the universe. In our case, universe is first, and then we try to gather the knowledge. So these are that's what Patanjali said, Sarvajyatva Bijam. He didn't say Paramatma is Sarvajya, but Sarvajyatva Bijam. All the knowledge is within him as a seed form. So that is what is here. So he serve with Sarvakayata. The next statement says, Ideshe Ishwar Siddhi Siddha. Such an Ishwar, which is having these attributes, is proven. And he's now talking in the, you have to see the thread it is going on. Just now we discussed that Prakriti has given rise to the universe, including our Panchbhut, our body, and our instrument. All this is there. Now he's bringing suddenly Ishwar. So Ishwar is what? Efficient cause. This is out of Prakriti, all this is made, but made by whom? By Ishwar, who has the whole design in him and who has all the capacity. He can cause the things to move the way he wants it. So that is efficient cause, what is called Nimitta Karan, and Prakriti is Upadan Karan. Like I say about wood and table, wood is the Upadan Karan, material cause, and carpenter is the Nimitta Karan, agental cause, efficient cause, who is a conscious being, while wood is unconscious. And in the process, wood gets transformed, but carpenter doesn't get transformed and stays as it is. So you will have to see this kind of analogy that Ishwa is conscious being, he acts upon it, he has all the knowledge, and he doesn't go through any transformation, he causes the transformation. So that he has covered in these two statements, what is the role of it. So the Prakriti Parvashyat, that was the statement, Parvashyat, is is a is a submissive to somebody, is it not? Prakriti is submissive to somebody who is the owner of that Prakriti, and that entity is Ishwar. Pradhan Shrishti Parartham. This he has used many times. Now there is another being, the third entity. Like I say, the wooden table is made for another conscious being to use. A carpenter doesn't make just for fun of it. Somebody is going to use it. And in this case, these are our souls. We are the tiny souls. We enjoy the Prakriti, the whole universe, what is called Bhog. And also this is the instrument, we use it for the upwork, for the Vivek, etc. Pradhan Shrishti Payartham Swatav Upi Api Upabhoktatva Ushta Kunkum Vahanvat. An analogy is coming. Like a camel carries the load of saffron, what is called kumkum. So, I'll try to give you the meaning. Now there is a third entity is coming. I hope you see the flow. Panchbhut coming from Prakriti. Who does it? Ishwar does it. For whom? Now that answer is coming. Universe is for tiny souls. And he gives this is called an analogy, as saffron is carried by camel. But you have to see this analogy properly. Look at a camel carrying some load. Now, somebody has loaded on the camel, is it not? There is a person, probably a farmer, who has grown that produce. He loads it on the camel and he navigates. He's the driver. Camel doesn't go to the market just by itself. That driver, that navigator is going with him. Finally, it will be consumed by another conscious being. So you have to have this picture in your mind. So that's what I have put in the right color combination. Somebody loads and navigates to saffron on a camel for someone to consume. Of course, they just write one word, Ushta Kumkum Vahan Vat, but it has to be deciphered properly. So he is trying to explain to us there is a Ishwar, camel is like Prakriti, and what the load he is carrying will be enjoyed, that is the bhog, as well as upward, because that's what the philosophy universe is for, bhog as well as upward. If you are vairagya, that he has discussed, still the picture is both bhog and upward are going together. So saffron, for whom? For the souls, the end consumers. So this is his. Now we are looking at Ishwar. Ishwar has another function, what is called karma phal padatha. Not only he has created the universe, and the design of universe is such that we get bhog and upward. Now bhog is not arbitrary. If you have done certain karma, you will be rewarded in certain manner. So there has to be a mechanism. It has to be non-arbitrary, definite law, and that is called law of karma. And now he's talking about it because those who haven't gone through liberation, they are still in the world and they have to go through all the rewards. And that mechanism he is explaining now. Okay, there is a slight detour here. Why does Prakriti perform like this? Why all this is happening? He's trying to say Pradhan Srishti Payatham Achetanatva Api Kshivat. The thing is, if that camel and saffron, okay, nice example, but the I will say it is Purpaksh raising a question, if Prakriti is unconscious, how does it do it so intelligently and all that? Then he is trying to answer, so many things happen naturally. Otherwise, if you were to ask questions like this, you will have to ask every point. He gives an example of milk. Kshi vachestitam pradhanasya. Pradhan is the Prakriti here. So he just gives an example like mothers breast produce milk for infant or cows udder produce milk for its calf. Here again, Ishwar is for mother, then Prakriti, then milk, which is what is enjoyed by the child. Baby is for bhog and infant is the Purush. So, like a woman becomes a mother, there is a naturally milk there for the infant. All this is happening in a very natural manner. So it is so much, it is just so much automated that Prakriti behaves in such an automated manner. It is not that you have to see how Ishwa is doing it. It is just happening in a very routine trivial mechanism. So he gives this example. Ishwa rewards fruits of karma. Now he gives another example. There are a lot of examples are coming. Um, I should have said that. Oh yeah. Vivikta Bodha Shishti Nivritti. Vivikta is the one who has got, who has announced, who has come to a Vairagya, to a highest level, Vivikta Bodhat, and through internal understanding, Shishti Nivritti. For him, the universe doesn't exist anymore. Otherwise, the samsara goes on, but the individual who has gained the uh, vivek, that discriminatory knowledge, for whom he is no more concerned with the sansara as such, though it continues to exist for others. Here he gives an example. Sudvat Pake. Sud is a person who cooks food. Pak is to cooking the thing. So I just thought I will give you that analogy. Because here it is reference to rewarding fruit of karma. So somebody is hungry, that is a pain, and somebody prepares food for him, and that now there are two kinds of people. One uses food as a means, proper means, get rid of his pain of hunger, and learns from this mechanism to get out of this sansar. You'll have to listen to this analogy properly. But there are many Meo people, they enjoy food so much that they want to eat it again and again. Is that clear? So now here is, Ishwa is like in the place of that cook who is cooking food. Souls are those people who get hungry. So I put a color combination. Prakriti is what is the food here. Now the food is serves two purposes. For one who has eaten it, he takes it as the means. Now since you have eaten food, at least for the time being, you have got rid of that pain of hunger. And once you are no more with that pain, you are mature and you make a jump and get out of this sansar through the vivek, because you had some time before you are stuck with the pain of hunger next time. That will happen 4 hours later, is it not? Within those 4 hours, if you are mature, so these are analogies, is it not? Within that 4 hours, if you are smart, you find a mechanism how to get out of, how to acquire vivek and get out of this cycle of birth and death. But common people, they had the pain of hunger, but they enjoyed the food so much that they are into the rag of the taste of the food. And they are looking forward to the next meal, is it not? They don't go take the direction of the vivek. They are inflicted with avivek and they are looking forward to the next meal. And cook is of course nice. He will prepare the meal again, is it not? So these are analogies. You have to understand it. Then he finally uses this is a technical term. It comes in philosophy very often, udasin. So which is statement 66. Dvayo ektasya audasinyam apvarga. So upward is that liberation which is acquired from Vivek. And now he's saying, he's philosophically giving us detail. How does exactly that happens? You know. So what he's saying is, this is difficult to understand, but that's what the statement is. Either Purush or Prakriti or both. The statement is Dvayo Ektasya. Dvayo means both of them or at least one of them should become udasin. Udasin means indifferent to the other one. It is a pair. Pair is namely Purush and Prakriti. If you see this diagram, this is the pair he's talking about. And now he's saying is at least one of them or both of them must become udasin. Difficult to translate into English, but tentatively I am using the word indifferent. Indifferent meaning this is not functioning even though this is present. Or this is present but he's just not looking at it, this instrument. He's just not concerned with this. Or both are unconcerned about each of them. So you see there are three possibilities. I am not concerned what's happening here, or this is not concerned, this is no more interested in doing its job, even though this is present. This was an instrument for this owner. Owner is there, but instrument is just not functioning at all. Or this owner is there, but the instrument is functioning, but he's not interested, he's just not looking at it. Just not, or both are not functioning at all, not looking at each other, something like that. So let me try my best to explain what is the situation in our mind. So for upward to happen, this or both must be indifferent. Now let's look at this possibility. because he's giving two examples. He is using the word Vivek as well as Vairagya. So now situation looks like not only Vivek gives upward, even Vairagya can give it upward. Now let's look at it. Vivek, he gives an example. Snake disappears when one knows it is rope. So the situation is like this. There was a rope. The true knowledge, that is what is the wisdom, Vivek is that you have gained the Vivek when you know this is not a snake, but this is a rope. Is it not? So that fear of a snake or illusion of a snake is gone. That means you have attained Vivek. Now that object still lies there. That is like your buddhi and you are Purush. You have gained that new Vivek and you have qualified into these three possibilities. One of them should become Udasin. Because you are just no more, you have got the knowledge that it is not a snake, it is a rope. So you are just not concerned with it, while all other people in the world who are inflicted with avivek, they are with the either they have the fear or they have an illusion that this is a snake, is it not? So they are not qualified with that vivek, so they will not have upward. Is that okay? So this is the direction of vivek. Now there is another condition which is Vairagya. Then he gives an example of one has seen enough of the dance by the dancers. There is a young female dancer. She is dancing. So there is an example here. Odasinyam Anyasistupagyanam Kamyanimit. Yeah, Nartaki Vat Pavetasya. Nartaki is called a dancer, a solo dancer. Just look at this thing. There is a dance, a female dancer is dancing. And then an observer. Now you are an observer. Now this is in the direction of Vairagya. Vivek, we have discussed that rope and snake example. Now you are an observer, you are watching her dance. There comes a condition. Now you have seen it enough, is it not? You feel I have no more attraction. This is a wonderful dance, but I have no inclination to watch it anymore. It's not that you are hating it, you have become indifferent to it. This is your vairagya. And you rise from your seat and get out of the hall. You have seen the dance enough. So this is an example of vairagya, while all other observers are still seeing the dance. For them, dance is continuing, but for you, the dance is over. You are no more interested. So this is an vairagya example. So either it sounds like they are different. But again, if you look at it, Vairag is nothing but a maturity, is it not? You have gained an understanding that I am not benefiting anything from this seeing further. I have seen it enough, I enjoyed it, but no more, is it not? So this is your level of maturity. So this Vairag is also basically a heightened, a higher level of maturity. So this they may sound different, Vivek and Vairag, but basically both are a level of understanding, and they are common factor here is udasin. You are not concerned with it anymore. Okay, so that's what it is. Where am I? This is my last slide. I have 1 minute, very quick. But why not in one life? This is very important chapter, Jivan Mukti also. Why? Suppose somebody has come. Now, Vivek Vairag, we have discussed, he has got upward. Now, the question is, will he die the same moment or will his life continue? Kapil is taking a position, he will continue. He doesn't fall out like a tree is falling just like that. He will continue, then his arguments are following. First there is a poor Paksh is raising a question. If all this is happened, can it happen in one life? Then he is saying there is no such guarantee because the individuals are of different categories, all are adhikari work, there are some very superior, some very inferior kind of people. many people have to come. So the sansar goes on, and many people have to come again and again. So that is covered here. Now the question arises: one who has acquired that vivek, will he die or whatever? The statement is death may not occur soon after vivek for the following reasons. We have, when I am in the world, I am going through the bhog because of my past karma from this life or previous life. So karma are categorized in this manner in three blocks, so to say. Kriyaman, which is ongoing, we forget about it. Sanchit, Sanchit is they are now going through gestation period and they will bring their rewards. So when it comes to this person for Vivek, his Kiyamad is no more there because he is already in this direction. He doesn't perform karma. He is in the Vivek direction. And Sanchit karma is also, all those are what is called Bij Dagdavat. All they were dead now. They are Bij, which will bring the reward. He has killed them, sanskar, all that. That's why it is Bij Samadhi, what is called. But there is some prayabdha. Some karma are already giving rise to the fruits. That is called prayabdha. That sequence has to continue. So first argument is that that will continue. But now the Purva Paksh is raising the question because the whole story started with the with dukh atyant nivetti, atyant purushat. If vivek is atyant purushat, there should be no more dukh. And if there is karma fall still to come, some more dukh may come. So that is, he's raising an objection. What kind of this vivek was if some more dukh is going to come? Then he's saying this vivek has come to a point that though there will be reward, but that will not inflict pain to him because he already has the vivek. In light of his vivek, those karma fall will not be causing any pain. Then he offers another argument that indeed such a person should continue his life for some more time, and he calls them a Jivan Mukt because they are the only one who are qualified to become our true teachers. A teacher is one who has seen. If you have not seen the truth, how can you explain it to others? Is it not? So the world always needs such teachers. These were the teachers who wrote these books which we are talking about, is it not? Otherwise, who would have written the book? The once he becomes qualified, if he dies immediately, how will he write the book? Is it not? So these are the people who wrote Upanishads, Shaddarshan, etc. And if it is not so, else superstition and blind faith will persist. He is using the word on the parampara. And then he again offers an example. Just like a potter's rotating wheel continues to rotate even after he has made all this, that is the inertia. So because it is related to the materials of material instrument and body is also made of panchbhut, so he's saying that sort of inertia will continue and he will live for some more time, though all karmas disappear, yet not prarabdha. Even if prarabdha is there, something is happening, he's also eating food just for his survival, but he has no vairagya, he has full vairagya. So he, just like a small baby has mother's milk, there is no taste in that. It's a very tasteless thing, but that is just his mere survival. So he does all the things which a common man does, but he is not inflicted with the resultant of those activities, joy or pain. It is just in a very indifferent manner. His final statement, Vivekat, only it is Vivek, Nishesh, Dukh Nivetto, only through Vivek leads to absence of pain. Kritkityata, the Kritkityata which I explained, all that was needed to be attained as a human being has been attained. And then he says, No itarat, there is no other mechanism. With this third chapter ends. See you next week. टाइम का थोड़ा हो गया था, कभी कभी कहीं अधिक चले जाते हैं, कभी